You know that feeling, right? You're in a packed room, maybe a party, surrounded by people, talking and laughing, but you feel like there's an invisible wall around you. It's such a strange, isolating feeling. And honestly, it's a huge part of our modern lives. So today, we're going to get into this paradox, what it means to feel totally alone together.
Okay, so right off the bat, let's get one thing crystal clear. Loneliness is not the same thing as being alone. Not at all. You can choose to be alone, that's solitude, and it can be amazing. But loneliness, that's a whole different animal. It's that ache you feel, and it can hit you hardest when you're in a crowd. So what is it really?
All right, let's dive into this idea of loneliness in a crowd, because it has absolutely nothing to do with how many friends you have on social media or how many people's numbers are in your phone. It's about something way, way deeper.
And here it is. This is the absolute core of it. Loneliness isn't about physical distance, it's about emotional distance. It's that nagging feeling that you're just on the outside looking in, that no one really sees you. It's a deep, gut-level feeling of not belonging.
This really says it all, doesn't it? You can't heal a wound that's about a lack of connection by just throwing more people at it. It doesn't work that way. What we're all really looking for isn't a bigger crowd, it's more depth. Seriously, just one person who gets you can do more than a whole room full of strangers.
You know, one of the trickiest parts about this kind of loneliness is how it shows up. It doesn't just announce itself. It kind of seeps in. There are these quiet symptoms that are so easy to miss if you don't know what you're looking for.
Let's break these down. First up, feeling misunderstood. You're talking, you're sharing something from your heart, and you can just tell the other person isn't really hearing you. Which naturally leads to the second one, withdrawing inward. You just start to think, why bother? And you pull back. And that leads to the third thing, social fatigue. You go to a party that's supposed to be fun, but you leave feeling completely drained, just empty.
And this is what makes it so incredibly painful. On the outside, everything looks fine. You're going out, you're seeing people, you look normal. But that gap, that huge gap between how you feel on the inside and how you look on the outside, well, that just makes you feel even more alone. It's like your struggle is totally invisible.
So if any of this is hitting home for you, I want you to hear this. This is not your fault. It's not some personal failing. This feeling is basically a feature, not a bug, of the world we live in right now. So let's talk about why this seems to be happening more and more.
A lot of the time, we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. In real life, conversations can feel less like a connection and more like people just waiting for their turn to talk. And then online? Well, we get tons of messages, emojis, and likes, but there's no real substance there. It's like snacking on junk food. It gives you the illusion of being full, but you're actually starving for real nourishment.
And when you feel like you don't belong, you basically have to become an actor. You put on a mask, you play a part that you think other people will accept because you're terrified that if they saw the real you, they'd run for the hills. And let me tell you, that performance is absolutely exhausting.
And so, eventually, you might just come to this conclusion. It makes sense, right? If you just stop talking, stop trying so hard, you save some energy, it feels like self-preservation. But the quiet danger is that this silence, this retreat, it just deepens that feeling of isolation over time.
So let's do a quick gut check. Do any of these sound familiar? You're physically with a group of people, but your mind is a million miles away. You get home from a social thing and just feel this wave of relief that it's finally over. Or maybe you have so much on your mind, but you feel like there's literally no one you can actually talk to about it. These are the telltale signs.
Okay, so we spent a lot of time defining the problem, and that's important, but we are not going to stay there. The most important part of this whole conversation is what comes next, because the good news is we can actually build the kind of connections that heal us. There is a path forward.
For many people, one of the most powerful ways to find that deep sense of connection isn't with other people at all, but with something bigger. It could be a connection to God, to a sense of purpose, to nature, whatever it is for you. That kind of spiritual anchor can give you a feeling of belonging that doesn't depend on anyone else. See, it's all about finding a delicate balance. Our need to belong is baked into our DNA. But if we lean only on other people for our sense of self, our hearts will just get tired and worn out. But if we pull away completely, well, then they risk freezing over. We have to find a way to stay warm.
So what do we actually do? Here are 4 real, practical things. First, go for depth, not width. Focus on nurturing just 1 or 2 relationships where you can truly be yourself. Second, please never give up on being yourself. The right people for you won't ask you to perform. Third, Trim down the digital noise. Make intentional space for real, face-to-face contact. And finally, and this one's huge, try to reframe that feeling of loneliness. What if it's not a failure? What if it's actually your heart's alarm system protecting you from connections that aren't right for you?
Okay, so as we wrap this up, let's really lock in a totally new way of thinking about loneliness, a more powerful way.
It is so important to get this deep in your bones. Feeling lonely does not mean you're weak. It does not mean you're broken or that you're bad at making friends. We have got to throw those old, damaging ideas in the trash.
What it is a perfectly human response to a pretty unnatural modern world. It's a signal. It's a deep pain, for sure, but it's telling you that something important is missing. It's a sign that you're craving substance in a world that often celebrates the superficial. And this is the thought I really want to leave you with today. Instead of asking yourself, what's wrong with me? What if you started asking, am I in the right place with the right people? Maybe the problem isn't you at all. Maybe it's the environment you're trying so hard to fit into.
Because when you find that right connection, it feels like coming home. There's no effort, no noise, no performance needed. It's just a quiet, comfortable silence where you feel seen. It's always been about the quality of our bonds, not the quantity of our contacts. And finding that, well, that's something every single one of us deserves.